So we once again take up the Browning version by Terence Rattigan, and I begin by uh, apologizing for the spelling mistake that I committed. That was an inadvertent error. I had spelled the first word of the name Terence Rattigan wrongly with double R, whereas when I checked it up again, when I checked it up and it happened per chance, it is spelt in single S. So, by way of a brief recap, the important thing is for us to be able to understand the play, the short play, which actually is an excerpt. We must first understand the significance of the title, and that I know we are all well versed with. But by way of revision, the play, this excerpt of the play, the Browning version, has been titled the Browning version because Terence Rattigan bases this play, the incidents, the characters, on Robert Browning's translation of Aeschylus's Greek tragedy Agamemnon, and how other two things go hand in hand. The successes and failures of this play, the characters in this play, resemble the successes and failures of the great Greek dramatist Aeschylus's Agamemnon. There is a parallel between Agamemnon, who happens to be the main character, the main hero, and Procol Haris, who we find when we read the text to be a strict disciplinarian. In addition to this, he is hardworking and fully devoted to his duty. This is evident from the incident that he calls tableau, even on the last day of school, to make up for the lost work that tableau had suffered. Tableau does not appreciate the teacher much. As we discussed earlier, there is not much of a rapport between students and teachers, between students and Procol Haris. But he tells Frank, incidentally, in the play, that in spite of everything, this we learn when we read the play. In spite of all that, he likes him, and Frank Hunter also envies the influence that Procol Haris has over his students. So, and when we read the play, we find that in the opinion of Tableau, Procol Haris. Croc is what they call him. Procol Haris is hardly human, but he's not a sadist. This is the way. SADIST, and this comes from a psychological disorder, sadism. It is not sadism, it is sadism. It's a psychological disorder, which means you derive pleasure by inflicting pain on yourself. So, in Tableau's opinion, Procol Haris is hardly human, but he is not a sadist. The fact that he punishes students doesn't amount to Procol Haris being called a sadist. Tableau explains this in his conversation with Frank Hunter. He reasons out that Procol Haris is not a sadist because he Crocker Harris that is, doesn't have any feelings at all. He's indifferent to feelings shown by the students, and he also feels that Crocker is a teacher who cannot appreciate the extra work done by the students. Absolutely. He's like a nut. When you read the play, this is what you'll understand. Crocker Harris, according to Taplow, is like a nut, and he seems to hate people who like him. He is not partial or biased. He maintains appropriate distance from students. Crocker Harris. And he is one teacher in school that students cannot disobey. As I told you earlier, no one dares to take Crocker Harris, that is among students. No student dares to take Crocker Harris for granted. Therefore, Taplow feels scared to escape meeting with him and waits for him even when Crocker is late. He is respectful towards Crocker and dares not defy the instructions of Crocker Harris. And we find that Millie, Crocker Harris's wife, is also disenchanted